Hi everyone, this is Right to Life of Central California Director John Gerardi, bringing you another in our 40 videos for 40 days series. This is in conjunction with our 40 Days for Life campaign, of which we are the local Fresno host. 40 Days for Life is the international campaign of prayer and presence outside abortion clinics throughout the country and throughout the world. If you want to learn more about our campaign in Fresno, get in touch with us at Right to Life at 559-229-2229 if you want to join with any of our groups who are out there in front of the Planned Parenthood on Fulton Street. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the good stuff in my new favorite pro-life book, What It Means to Be Human, The Case for the Body in Public Bioethics, written by Carter Sneed. Over the next 3 days, I want to talk about maybe the three most significant Supreme Court decisions relating to abortion: Roe v. Wade, Doe v. Bolton, and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. So I want to start with Roe v. Wade and sort of give a little explainer of what Roe v. Wade did, drawing a little bit from Professor Sneed in his review. By the way, that's one of the best parts about his book, is that he goes in detail through all of the major Supreme Court cases dealing with abortion. So what actually happened in Roe v. Wade? Roe v. Wade was in a legal landscape where most of the United States had outlawed abortion. Most states throughout the Union around the time of the Civil War passed laws to affirmatively outlaw and criminalize abortion, particularly for doctors. Texas still had on the books a law outlawing abortion, except in certain cases to save the mother's life. Now, a number of pro-choice activists were basically looking for test cases. They wanted to challenge the legal constitutionality of abortion, and they found this woman named Norma McCorvey in Texas, who was pregnant, had been living a kind of difficult life with drug abuse, and was pregnant for the third time at a very young age. And they had her be the plaintiff in this case, challenging Texas's law against abortion as unconstitutional. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the court, in a 7-2 decision, ruled that all of the state laws outlawing abortion were unconstitutional. Basically, what they said was that the 14th Amendment protected the right to abortion. How did it do this? Well, the 14th Amendment has a section saying that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And they used this doctrine called substantive due process. Basically, the notion that you can't have due process of law, fair legal proceedings, orderly court systems, a fair judicial system, without certain rights being respected in American life. They had reasoned in a prior Supreme Court decision, Griswold v. Connecticut, that privacy was one of those rights that was protected by this clause of the 14th Amendment. So they reasoned that within the 14th Amendment was a right to privacy that wasn't explicitly in there, and within the right to privacy was a right to have an abortion, which also wasn't explicitly written in there. And then within that, they reasoned that the right to abortion was sort of split up along the trimester system, that basically in the first trimester, states can't regulate abortion at all. In the second trimester, they can regulate to some extent in the interest of the mother's health. And in the third trimester, they could ban abortion outright as long as there was an exception for pregnancies that implicate a mother's health. We'll talk about that more tomorrow when we talk about Doe versus Bolton. Now, if you're confused by this, you should be, because this Supreme Court decision was not interpreting the Constitution at all. I think it's not very difficult to argue, and even very liberal legal commentators like Ruth Bader Ginsburg agreed that what the court was doing in Roe was basically legislating from the bench. While Ruth Bader Ginsburg agreed with the ultimate holding of Roe, that abortion should be legal and protected by the Constitution, she herself didn't really agree with the way that the court did it. And I think basically what the mindset that the court had was, again, this notion of expressive individualism, this notion that people are important if they are able to express their future plans, if they are able to actualize their future plans, engage in self-expression, that is what it means to be human. And yet again, it's this failing on the part of the Supreme Court to see in humanity that we are on, as I've been saying throughout these videos, that we are on this sort of spectrum of disability. We're born into this world unable to do some of these ideally human things that we think about: self-expression, planning, creative thinking, etc. We are born without the ability to do this. We impose burdens on other people due to our various disabilities, just being a small and weak and dependent person, and that at the end of our lives, we will probably return to that state, and that there are natural bonds of affection between people as far as imposing burdens and needing to gracefully receive burdens imposed on us by others. The Supreme Court seemed to overlook those kinds of natural bonds of burden and reciprocity between mother and child, and decided that, well, the child isn't really a person, because that's not how the Constitution views the word person when it's used, when that word is used throughout the Constitution. It was a very sad case in which the Supreme Court basically imposed its policy preferences on the entire United States of America, wiping away the laws of essentially all 50 states on abortion and replacing it with its own preferred viewpoint. In fact, one of the most aggressive legal regimes legalizing abortion in the whole world. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about Doe v. Bolton, the companion case to Roe v. Wade, and how it made Roe so radical. For Rights Life of Central California, I'm John Gerardi.